Right now, a wild scientific phenomenon you may never have heard of. The sun is, well, flipping out. The magnetic fields are switching, meaning the North Pole and the sun becomes the South Pole, vice versa. According to NASA, the effect will be felt across the entire solar system. Let's talk about that, what it means for us here on Earth. Joining us once again is Corey Powell, editor-at-large for Discover magazine. So when it flips on the sun, it flips throughout the magnetic field throughout the entire solar system. But what does it mean for Earth? What do we see and feel here?
Right. So the sun is active all the time. The sun is like a magnetic bottle. So when the sun flips, that actually means all that magnetic activity is flipping with it. So there's an electrical current that runs through the whole solar system, including past the planet. All that stuff flips upside down. This only happens at a time when the sun is particularly active.
Which is now.
Which is right now. So this kind of flip happens every 22 years.
Are we going to see, some climate change here, more clouds, auroras? What about auroras?
Right. So this is a time of high solar activity. When you see exactly those kinds of things, you see auroras. There's a greater risk of blackouts. There's just a constant low-level damage that happens to our blackouts
Really?
to power satellites. This is a time when major activity is more likely than it is at other times.
All right. Now, severe solar superstorms, which are different, what could that do?
Right. So the sun is continuously disrupting the space around the Earth. It's what they call space weather. And ordinary space weather and a superstorm is sort of the difference between, a bad thunderstorm and a hurricane. Ordinary space weather, just the stuff that happens every year that we don't even pay any attention to, costs something between $500 million and $1 billion a year in damage to power lines and to satellites.
Just in the U.S.
Just in the U.S., and that's just an ordinary average year. That's averaged out. A superstorm, the last really serious superstorm that we had was in 1859. Unfortunately, there wasn't much technology around at the time. If something like that happened again, the National Research Council estimates it could cause $1 to $2 trillion of damage just in the United States.
You could have blackouts worldwide?
You could have blackouts, not just blackouts, but you could have blackouts that would last for months or even for a year, because what would happen is it could blow out basically all the power line transformers at once.
People couldn't survive. Some people couldn't.
Well, that's why those damage numbers are so high, because it's not just that you lose the power. Imagine you have a blackout that lasts past the point where your hospital generators are kicking in, or it knocks out all of your financial trading markets. That's why there's a very, very active effort right now to do much better space weather forecasting, because if you can predict these things, understand why the sun is flipping.
I mean, we're not expecting one of these solar superstorms anytime soon, are we?
Statistically, probably not. We don't really know yet how to predict them, and what you really want to do is, the cost of this is a classic, high impact, low frequency kind of event.
Right.
You want to know how to forecast it, because
if it happens, we can prepare for it.
If it happens, we can prepare for it, and just saving that year-to-year constant erosion.
Right.
Who pays attention to space weather? The answer is industry does.
I'm out of time. Corey Powell,
Yes.
Good to see you as always. Thanks.
Thanks.
Jenna?
Quick note, Greg.